Yes. Yes. Come on. Yes. Hear the vibrations, huh? I'm feeling that vibration today. Yes. Let's turn it down a bit, shall we? There you go. Okay, let's turn it right down. Let's turn it right. There we are. There you go. How are you feeling, people? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? This is the Motivator Show. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. And believe it, it's for the taking. And believe it, for the taking. I'm feeling good this strong. Huh? I am feeling good. My body is tingling. I am feeling with a high vibration. This is the Motivator Show, where we are going to translate our great words into action. You better believe it. You better believe it. So let's get started, shall we? First of all, I want to give a big thumbs up to that wonderful personality we had last week. Yeah, do you remember his name? Come on. I want to hear you shout it. Do you remember his name? Yeah? Come on. I didn't hear you shout it. Come on now. Come on, let me hear you shout it. Come on, I'm going to put him up on the screen then. All right, I'll put him on the screen. There you are. Yes, the inspired diabetic, Lyndon Wizard, yeah? Wasn't that a fantastic show last week? Wasn't that fantastic? The feedback I've received to that show alone was tremendous. I know for certain we have saved lives. Because increasing numbers of our community are deciding it is better to change my lifestyle, our lifestyle. And that means what we put into our bodies. Yeah. Well done, Lyndon. Well done. If those of you who are viewing us via YouTube and Facebook, you could see, as well as hear, my person. Yeah. You could see on screen Lyndon Wizard's Inspired Diabetics website details, which is, of course, www.3Ws, theinspireddiabetic.com. There are no spaces. Theinspireddiabetic.com. I commend his website to you. If you want to contact him by email, it's lwizard, and I'll spell the wizard, LWISSART, at theinspireddiabetic.com. I say again, his email address is lwizard, at WISSART, at theinspiredwizard.com. Okay, and telephone number for reference, it's 07 916 119 717. 07 916 119 717. I commend him to you. A most inspired African man, a most inspired man, I have to say, truly inspiring. And I know that many of you responded positively to the information he lovingly shared with you. His journey in coping and managing his diabetes to a point that is really non-existent. But to ensure that's the case, the change in lifestyle was necessary, is necessary. And why? Every week, I spend time, at least 15, 20 minutes, sharing with you these common sense lifestyle messages. Okay? That's why I do it. And thank you for the positive feedback. Thank you. I should, before I also begin, if you are viewing us via YouTube and Facebook, you can communicate with the studio using the chat facility. I'm happy to receive any questions or correspondence via the chat facility whilst I am live. Okay, I'm just going to say hi to you all. There you are. Hi. So we're online. Okay, we're online. Okay. But I will now go straight into this. Okay, thank you. If that another message is for me. Thank you, thank you. Go straight into this because clearly, information provided by the Inspired Diabetic last week was inspirational. But this week, we're going to focus on how to grow wealth in our community. Yes, Nefertiti, I hear you. How are we going to grow wealth in our community? It is possible working together. Don't worry, we're going to explain how to do this soon. Because another inspired African is going to be with us today. And he's going to provide guidance, advice, direction, so that we all can benefit from his professional and lifetime experience, which is proven time and time again. Okay. But before that, no further ado, let's go into the lifestyle messages. Yep. Let's go right into this. I ask you, please, to consider the amount of sugar and salt that you consume every day. Mm-hmm. Sugar, I've told you about my sweet tooth. Okay, I still have a sweet tooth. Why do I know that? Because when I see sugary things, my mouth still waters in preparation to consume. Yes, it still happens. But our minds are more powerful than our basic urges. Yeah, our minds are more powerful. And that's the purpose of reminding you. We should think carefully, consider carefully the amount of sugar that we consume. There's a direct causal impact on our bodies in the form of diabetes. Diabetes, which is a symptom of us not being able to process sugar. In other words, it's the insulin that's created by the pancreas, which becomes damaged by literally overwhelming the poor organ with sugar. Sugar, sucrose, it comes with other names as well. But it will taste sweet in your mouth. I know the habit is and has been for many families to give children sweets to eat as a treat. And they love it. I loved it. I loved it. What my loved ones around me at the time didn't appreciate is the long-term impact it will have and potentially have on my brothers and sisters, my cousins, my nephews, my nieces' bodies. Mm-hmm. And some of you, in fact, far too many of you, understand the potential impact, and that is diabetes. We have in our communities an epidemic of diabetes. Okay, there's no kind way I can say this. We're doing it to ourselves through our actions. And I urge you to consider reducing the consumption of sugar significantly, like I have. Over a period of years, I've reduced it. I no longer buy sugar from the grocery store for that reason. Okay. I discovered, of course, the foods I generally eat contains sufficient amount of sugar for my body to process. Okay. So I urge you to consider the amount of sugar you are consuming. I equally ask you to consider the amount of salt you're consuming. Again, salt we add to our diet. Why? Because we believe it provides an enhancement to the flavor of the food we're consuming. Mm-hmm. That is a fallacy. Let me make it clear to you. That is a fallacy. Okay? A fallacy. False, in other words. Okay? It's in our minds. Okay? Gradually, over time, I reduced the amount of salt I add to my diet. Again, another item I no longer purchase from the grocery store. Okay. The food I consume have more than sufficient salt in them at the time. So I urge you to consider the implication of the overconsumption of salt. It may not happen on a single day or on a single week. It may not happen on a single month or a single year. It's accumulated days, it's accumulated weeks, it's accumulated months, it's accumulated years that has the detrimental impact on our bodies. Yeah, the hardening of our arteries, and therefore our heart has to push even with even greater strength blood through our arteries and veins. Consequently, there's a raising of our blood pressure and the danger that our arteries or our veins might burst. Yeah, it is a very dangerous condition to have, high blood pressure. But in our communities, we are way overrepresented in diabetes and hypertension, high blood pressure, and its self-inflicted wounds. We can and we must do better for our sake, our loved ones' sake, our friends and network's sake. Yeah, we've got to be the examples, the exemplars for others to follow. I urge you to consider the amount of salt you are consuming. It is a known, it's a harmful ingredient in our diet used to excess. Okay? I know I'm saying equally each time, but I'm going to keep saying equally because they're all equally as important. Okay? Equally asks you to consider the amount of carbohydrates and fat that you consume. Carbohydrate, typically in our diet, it's from the potatoes, root vegetables, or indeed wheat products, okay? Bread and potatoes and so on, okay? We eat this in excess. I know I keep using that term, but you remember when we had the diet, the specialist dietitian here, okay? What did he say? He said we should be consuming per sitting no more than a fistful of food per sitting. It is challenging, trust me, it is challenging, but I've been gradually, over time, reducing how much food I eat per sitting. Yeah, that's on my plate, gradually over time. Yeah, and I'm suffering no ill effects, I might add. Okay, I'm suffering no ill effect. This gradual reduction. I don't believe in this cold turkey nonsense. Gradual reduction, so both your body and mind adjust to the nutritional quantum volume that you're consuming each sitting. Okay, and you'll find your bodies are wonderful, robust, biomechanical or bioelectrical machines. Yeah, and they will adjust. Okay, we eat far too much. And most certainly, we eat far too much carbohydrates. Okay, what do we do with it? We store it often, and that's why you see so many of us who are overweight. Yeah, so many of us are overweight because this is also true of fat. If you go to the butcher store and you see the white streak in the meat, that's fat. If you're eating cheese and it's hard, that's fat. If you're consuming butter and margarine, that's fat. If you're cooking with corn oil, it's primarily fat. That's what it is. We need to reduce the quantum, the amount that we're consuming each day, because that's where the detrimental, harmful effects are principally derived. It's the amount we're consuming. It's way over what we require. Because what we do, and it's quite clear, our bodies believe that we are eating excess in order to prepare for a rainy day, a day in which you're going to starve. So what it does, it accumulates fat in your shoulders, in your abdomen, yeah, in your thighs, and in your buttocks. And you see so many of us with the abdomen bloating, flowing over our belts, and, yeah, or our trousers, yeah, yeah. You see it, yeah. You see the thighs. You see some people walking around with those big, big thighs, big thighs, and those buttocks. Oh my gosh, don't we see those buttocks? Or in polite terms, bottoms, huh? Yeah, those enormous bottoms. All they contain is fat. In other words, our heart is having to carry all that weight. Yeah, we are carrying all that weight, and that's hard work for our bodies. But it is harmful to our bodies to have to eat in such excess and such a regular basis that no longer is this nutrition that you're ingesting beneficial. It becomes harmful. So I urge you to think carefully about the amount of carbohydrates and fat that you ingest every day. Remember, it's that cumulative impact. And of course, the last item I always mention is, of course, starch. Starch typically derived from, in our case, from rice, yeah, typically, and some root vegetables, okay, like the yams. So I can hear the West Africans now about to cry. Yes, we eat too much jollof rice. Yes. I can hear the Caribbeans, Jamaicans, I can hear them now in the rice and peas. Yes, we eat far too much rice and peas. Far too much. You see, some of these servings are enormous amount of rice, starch on our plate. And again, our bodies believe we're preparing for a rainy day, a day in which we're going to starve. So it simply accumulates. It bloats us, and burdening our bodies ultimately. I know these are tough messages. I get it. I've been through it myself. Okay. It was hard to accept the facts until, of course, you turn around and you see members of your family, your loved ones, your network, your friends, yeah, with diabetes and hypertension. You see them with their bloated bodies, overweight, BMI in excess of 25 and 30 and above, yeah? You see far too many of our lovely women who are heavier than the men. Oh my gosh, huh? Heavier than the men. And clearly, far too many of members of our communities are reliant upon drugs just to stay alive, to stabilize their bodies. So that is the great challenge for us, to be able to intellectualize sufficiently to understand what we're doing to ourselves. But this is generally learned behavior. We're not over consuming these calories because we're hungry. It happens because of habit, tradition. It's what you're taught as children. But our parents, our guardians are lovely people. They love us dearly. They simply didn't know the potential long-term impact of overconsumption, the overeating, which is prevalent in our community. But I understand some people's resistance and wanting to turn off at this point. They don't want to accept the information because it means that they have to take responsibility and change. I say to you, look, you are not alone. The guest I will have later on will talk about the collective responsibility. Yeah, he will inspire you to understand that we are a community of loved ones, not simply people, of loved ones. He will engender the idea that working together, we become greater than the individuals in the community by working together. That's why these messages are vital for you to take on board, at least to consider. And if in doubt, please, I'm not a clinical professional. Please speak to your doctor, speak to your GP, or whoever has access to your medical record. Seek the professional advice, the general advice from that health professional. What I'm providing is common sense public health advice. This is what All the public health professionals will say to you what I'm saying to you this time. But there is often very specific information which is quite specific to you. So I want you, please, I urge you to seek out that professional advice. And lastly, I also ask you to consider both your mental health and your spiritual health. Okay? Mental health is a vital part of who we are, of course. You know, without good mental health, you cannot function in your family, in your workplace, in society. So if in doubt, I urge you to seek out professional advice. I say again, if in doubt, I urge you to seek out professional advice. Okay? And if you're not sure where to get that professional advice, come on. You can send a message through to me and I will signpost you to an appropriate person. Because if there's anything I've learned in life, in my elected public official status, is that often the information is around residents, it's around the electorate, but they can't see it for whatever reason. My role is to guide them to the right information, the right people to speak to, so they can seek and obtain the advice and guidance they need to continue to improve their lives. So I'm always happy to receive your messages if you seek out advice. But taking that step is what I urge you to do. Good mental health helps you to function in your families, in your workplace, in society. And we want you to function well. And of course, we are Africans generally. Yep. We are Africans. We are truly a spiritual people. And there's any aspect of ourselves that often we neglect, it's our spiritual side. So I urge you, when in doubt, speak to your spiritual advisors. You are never alone. I say again, if in doubt, seek out your spiritual advisors. You are never alone. And I urge you where you can to meditate. I've found it to be a most powerful therapeutic way to prepare my mind for the day. After a vigorous physical exercise, I prepare myself for these shows on the Saturday morning. To meditate, to push away all the cares and distractions of the world, and to allow your body to relax, close your eyes, and to be calm, to be settled. Yeah. To do this every day for at least 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, you find to be a powerful catalyst for you to raise your attention levels, yeah, raise your energy levels, and absolutely raise your feeling of health and well-being. I commend meditation to you. Okay? All Africans should meditate. I'll just say in closing, I'm heartened by the positive feedback I've received for these lifestyle messages, okay? And I will continue doing them. I'll try to continue doing the show. I am rather busy, but it is a necessary piece of work. Yeah. It would not be, in my heart, satisfactory to leave this place, to leave this world, if I hadn't shared with the world the knowledge and experience that I have. So be it. I do this as much as I can. If in doubt, I say to you all, please, please, please seek out professional advice. Okay, so that's it. That's the lifestyle messages. I hope they receive you well, okay? I hope they receive you well. And thank you for the positive feedback I've received this past strong, and most certainly it's on the screen, the Inspired Diabetic. I left him on screen so all of you can take note. Please contact him. Well done, Lyndon. Well done, Lyndon. Well done. Let me take it off now. So, if I may, I want to now just go to one other announcement, and this is one of those organizations I believe are unsung heroes. As you know, I'm a family man myself, and whilst this is very much for the slightly older persons, I've nevertheless got in mind what is it we do for our children. Okay, and there's an important piece of work that we all can commit to for our children. And that is to support not only our own children, but other people's children's education, both academic and indeed cultural and traditional education. It's a vital part of maintaining our community. So I want to give a big thumbs up to let me put them on my screen. There you go. The National Association of Black Supplementary Schools, or NABS, okay? They are, of course, a network of supplementary schools nationwide, okay? And their role is to provide additional educational support for all of our children. I repeat, for all of our children. I commend this organization to you. And the website address is www.nabss.org.uk. That nabs.org.uk. And of course, if you want to speak to Brother Near, and if you're listening, Brother Near, again, a big thumbs up to you. You can be contacted on telephone number 07958 348 558. I repeat, if you wish to contact him, just to understand where the location of these supplementary status schools might be found, please, or just a general discussion on how you could support your children, or indeed support one of these schools, please, which are usually wholly funded by the community. The number to call is 07958 348 558. I commend the National Association of Black Supplementary Schools to you all, an outstanding organization. There you are. Now then, so those are my early announcements. Very important because communities depend on us sharing positive information with each other. Okay, but I just want to reflect for a moment, if I may, and that's of course to do with my beloved. I say beloved, but I believe she's truly an inspired African woman, Ndidi Ishiwa. Okay. Today's show will focus on how to create generational wealth. Okay, and she wrote an interesting article, and I realized that before I came on, the article concern disappeared. I think it has actually disappeared. Yes, it has disappeared. All right, never mind. I was going to read from this article, but nevertheless, I can ad-lib from the article, I believe, from memory. The article looked at wealth creation, particularly in Nigeria. Okay, Nigeria, the country which is, mineral, natural resource rich. An incredible country, 250 million people, projected in 30 years' time to have over 400 million people and rising, and rising in that one country alone of the 53 countries across the continent, Incredible wealth, natural wealth is there. But of course, Nigeria, like the rest of the continent, is the result of a conference in Europe, Berlin Conference, okay? I believe 1875, 79 or thereabouts, okay? And that conference, of course, created borders across the continent and created, of course, this country of Nigeria. Nigeria, of course, is now made up of diverse communities who, prior to this artificial boundary created by Europeans, okay, lived generally in peace, mutual cooperation. But of course, the country of Nigeria is an example now where there is extreme wealth, okay? And far too many people in Nigeria are living on far too little, insufficient to live a reasonable life. And what she says is very much what my guests will say. And I know they've not met each other, okay? That the people need to collaborate, pool their effort, pool their imagination, okay? and share the ownership of the land, share the ownership of the assets, share the ownership of the vision for a better country, a better Nigeria. Okay? Whilst she would say that at the moment there are communities in Nigeria that don't share that vision, and for that reason, a period of separation is likely necessary. Okay? I'm not sure I agree with her totally, but that's her words. Okay? She's a Nigerian. She's in Nigeria. She's experiencing it firsthand. I'm not going to contradict her. I welcome Nigerians suggesting otherwise to me. Okay? But I've yet to hear, either from Nigerians or from many members of my wider community, inclusive narratives at a political level. Inclusive narratives I tend to hear come from people like my guest when I bring my guest into the studio, okay, who devise means by which we can all share in the great wealth of Africa. We can all share in the great wealth that exists amongst African peoples in Europe, in the Caribbean, in America, in the Americas. Yeah? Fundamental truths. Ubuntu. We'll get to it soon. That's why I'm excited by this show. I've scrutinized, I've investigated, I'm satisfied that the information will be shared with you today will be robust, well thought through, and inspirational. Truly inspirational. It'll be the type of information that you've been yearning for, but needed to be with others who share your desires. Yep. But we create a framework in which, even though you don't know man B or sister C, you can still occupy the same space and share the ownership of the common land, the common assets, the common wealth, as it were. African wealth. It comes from our imagination. Let it be. There are some interesting references I'll quote to you later today. But there is one reference I want to quote, and it's on the my little intro video. And this, if I get to the right section of it without any hassle, it'd be nice if I could, wouldn't it? There we go. Nice, here we are. I'm going to turn down the volume so we can just roll it through. I get to the right section of this. Okay, I'm going to bring up on the screen. Watch it. There we go. There we go. You see it on the screen. Those of you who can't, I'll read it out in a moment. So, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together with your families, with your friends, your trusted ones, those who believe in a common aim, a common purpose. That's the message I want to communicate with you today. I'm going to bring my guest into the studio now that I've prepared the way, because this is going to be truly a powerful, motivator show where we'll translate our words into action, and where success is ours for the taking. Hey. Praise Jah Rastafari. Bless Ashun. Hey. Let's bring him in. Oh, there we are. Oh, he's smiling. Oh, you can hear. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Thank you so much for the invite. Obviously, I've listened to the show before, but as usual, you just pump my blood every morning, and I wish you pump the blood of all listeners as you do to mine. So it's really a blessing and a privilege to be here. Thank you.
No, if I may say so, I'm always privileged. I have the opportunity to meet inspired Africans every week. And by virtue of that experience, I'm empowered. Because remember, Ubuntu, we are but together. We are but one, really, but different aspects of the one. I'm privileged, and your smile is enough. That could your smile is sufficient to conclude the interview for me. But I won't be so selfish for those who are listening to us only.
Thank you,
So,
brother. Thank
what
you.
I'm going to do
But
before asking you the details and information about Ubuntu, um,
yeah.
I wanted to ask a question about yourself.
Well,
Can you share with our audience, and I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself as well, share with the audience either a person or an event that has been so impactful it has shaped they or the event has shaped your life, the most impactful event. What would that be? Introduce yourself and then tell us what has been the most impactful person or event.
yeah. I am Joe Santiago. As Thanks a lot for the once again for the invite, brother. Um, I am, if you like, according to the colonizer designation, I am half Santomé and half Angolan and this kind of thing. But I like to um, call myself, which is really what what I am. I am a Bantu of
Mhm,
Foro tribe.
mhm,
I spent all my life in three continents, which is Africa, Asia, particularly Middle East and Europe. Europe, got the bulk of it. Two-thirds of my life I spent in Europe, in at least two countries, UK and Portugal.
mhm,
I came to UK. I mean, late 80s
mhm.
for university. Blah blah blah. All the story. And it is interesting that when I came here, the following day I called my mom. I came here. It was 1 15th of October, and it's autumn. So the 16th, it's not like today that you've got a mobile and thing like this. I went
Yes,
to a phone
yes.
box
Mm,
and called my mom. Said, "Well, I will never stay in this country. As soon as I finish my doing here, which would be degree, I would go back." So as you can imagine, how long this lie has last. So I never came back. I never went back, obviously, and I'm still here
which would be degree.
after.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I finished the degree, and obviously I
Mhm,
stayed.
mhm,
So this is me, but I am a financial, if you like, financial strategist. Was recruited to work for banks and in all of these things. But what I'm much more passionate about is to empowerment of our people,
mhm,
because I've been privileged enough to be in certain places to have some positions and so on and so forth. But when I look around, I see that actually it doesn't happen to all of us the
mhm.
same way. And the unfortunate situation is that we are the hardest, the hard workers. We
Yes.
are the one who really build the backbone of all this Western society in one way or the other, both here in diaspora as well as in the continent. So after I've done many years in the corporate world, I I was invited to speak in one in the Middle East in one conference, and when the title of my speech was "Slave in Suit and Tie."
Mhm.
Now, once I finished that speech, obviously my brothers in the room, they nearly killed me, because they could not accept that
Yes.
that they were, as I was, a slave. Now they thought I did this speech to attack them, but in fact I was talking about myself. I
Mhm.
was talking the feeling that
Yes.
of working 7 days a week. Yes, I was in a very expensive suit and very expensive tie, flying business class and so on and so forth, but I did not have life.
Mhm.
The boss would tell me what to do, and I was
Mhm.
doing it, and so that was the event which literally told me, you know what, I came to realization that this is my what happened to me, but
Mhm.
my brothers are not able to see that.
Mhm.
So then I started really researching and researching and researching and researching. The more I researched, I found that we occupy really the bottom level of social socioeconomic strata. So around the world, it was not just in the Middle East, it was not just in Europe. I go to Africa, the same situation. I go to Latin America and Southern America, the same situation. So I kept going and start asking questions. How can we come out of that?
That's right.
And asking questions, speaking with people, and think and reading a lot of books and thing. And this is when I start discovering that our ancestors created this system,
Hmm.
both economical, philosophical, educational, and so on and so forth, which
Hmm.
the European system is a spin-off, is
Yes.
adulterated model of what our ancestors created.
Can I
But
ask you, please, Jose, because you've made one of those important points, because it's littered throughout history. Our African civilizations and our achievement have been copied by others, and as it were, copyrighted by others.
yes.
Now, can I just ask you to repeat what you said, that the European system is an offshoot, and
Yeah,
explain why it's an offshoot,
yeah, in many areas. I will give one simple example,
please?
which
Yes.
is all of us who've been to school, hopefully, learn of Pythagoras theorem.
Hmm.
All of us, or most of us, and we say that Pythagoras is a Greek, is whatever, whatever. He invented that thing, and this is absolutely incorrect. This is not true because Pythagoras actually spent 22 years in Egypt,
Hmm.
learned that thing,
That's right.
copied it, took it to his country, copyrighted it as you say, and so on and so forth.
That's
And
right.
we've got many stories like like this.
Now,
Um,
Joseph, if I may,
Go ahead.
there are thousands, potentially millions, who will hear what you just said for the very first time
Okay.
and will be in disbelief.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
right.
this is absolutely
Yeah.
true.
Now,
Um,
then, in my world, as you know, in public life, okay, where I know we have a disbelieving audience, we might need to therefore demonstrate it as
yes.
the facts, so they independently can verify for themselves. Okay, so let me just go back just one step or two. Okay, and you said that Pythagoras went to Egypt. Okay, and spent a relatively short period of time, yeah, in Egypt and acquired this knowledge. Okay,
No, 22
um,
years, brother. Just to be more specific, 22 years, not so
20,
short.
right, 22
22
years. There
years.
you go. There you go. All right. Now then, I know that if you were brought up in this country, the history of Africa will be one solely of enslavement, yeah, in more recent 100 years. But of course, our history goes back thousands of years. Okay, so there's a lot of propaganda that and brainwashing that our peoples have undergone, both those in diaspora and I notice also on the continent. Okay, so our role is some therapy to take the people with us, because often academics make these statements and don't bring these statements to life. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to really challenge you now. Okay, you've made the statement. Can you illustrate it for us so that those who have not had the privileged access to this knowledge can absorb it as part of their consciousness? There's a challenge to you. How can we make this real for them? What would you suggest?
Well, um,
Mhm.
the first thing I would suggest to all of us, because all of us drank through the same spring, okay, unfortunately, which is called the education system. All right. So we, I mean, as a child and you growing up, you
One
learn.
request, sorry, one request there, Jose. Your volume, can you just adjust your volume and turn it up a bit? I've just got some messages that your volume is a bit low, a bit low.
Yeah. Can I don't know if the volume is higher now. Is it higher?
Okay, yep. Keep going up. That's all right. It's I can regulate the descent. You see?
Yeah. Can you?
Yep,
Is
that's
it
fine.
better now?
That's better. That's better in a way.
Okay. Right. So what I'm saying is that all of us, drank through the same spring, which is called the education system.
Hmm.
We're not even going to the media propaganda. We are not going to so-called research and nothing like this. Just the normal school journey is what we learn.
Hmm.
Now, when we go to school, this is what we learn. And the books which are, we are encouraged to read and which are offered to us are also, suggested and imposed by those same people. So, so our learning of the fact is distorted. This is a
Yes.
fact.
Yes.
Now, for us to really learn what is the truth, we have to start really going outside the box that we are. We have to
Absolutely.
stop listening to the so-called researchers of big institution. We have to
Mm.
stop reading other of those famous books, so and then come out. And
Yes.
unfortunately, the books which tell us the truth, or books which could tell us the truth, are very scarce, and some of them extremely expensive.
Yes. Yes.
So, brothers and sisters, all I could tell you, maybe you are not able to buy the book which costs £1,500 per
Hmm.
unit. Maybe
Hmm.
you cannot not buy a book which is 300 or so. But spend some time in Wikipedia, which obviously is also adulterated in many aspects.
Yes. Yes.
Spend time going and speaking with the or listening or reading things like from Professor Small,
Hmm.
for example.
Yes.
Read books, for example, like Powernomic from Claude Anderson, for example.
Yes. Yes.
Read Everyday Ubuntu from the niece of Bishop Desmond Tutu.
Yes.
You know, read those things, and even when you read those, be critical.
Yes.
Go to the but I can speak from my journey. When I decided that I want to live Ubuntu life, I went to the bush, what I call the bush, which is my Africa. And I'm not saying the bush because it is non-civilized. I say
Hmm.
the bush because it's a place of peace, a place of joy for me. So when I say I'm going to the bush, I'm going to my temple.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So I went to the bush many, many times and spoke with the elders.
Hmm.
I went to the bush to experience it, because remember, our culture and tradition is oral.
Yes.
Europeans are the one who introduced the written history to us.
Hmm.
So if you want to know how you can do the best jerk chicken, don't read the book. Go and speak with the grandma.
Hmm.
you know
Hmm.
if you
Hmm.
wanted to know how the rite of passage is done, go and speak with grandpa in the middle of the bush. Don't
Yes.
read the book which was done by the professor in Cambridge or Yale or whatever, because those, unfortunately, they will tell the story through
That's right.
their eyes.
That's
But
right.
then there is another challenge, brother. Many of us say, "Oh, this is professor. He's African, he's Caribbean, and he's this and he's that." We need to remember, when you work in a Western organization, like I did for many years,
Hmm.
you have to speak the language of your employer.
Correct.
So university employs the professor, and the professor cannot go outside that
Hmm.
box if he wants to be employed. And,
Correct.
and we've got an example of one brother who was the only African history in this country. For whatever reason, with loads of good example, they decided it was not good enough, and they finished his position. So just to say that the fact that I am from African origin or so,
Hmm.
and working for one institution and writing something, it doesn't mean that I'm telling the truth. I'm
Hmm.
telling the truth through my employer eyes,
Yes.
not my truth.
Yes.
So this is what I would encourage all of us to do. Is it an easy job to do? No, it's not. Is it challenge? Of course, because you live 30, 40, 50 years listening to one thing: the radio, the
Hmm.
television, the newspaper, the friend, the
Hmm.
school telling you one thing, and out of the blue somebody tell you, "Oh, no, 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 this is not true. Oh, Pythagoras is not the guy who did it. He copied it 22 years that he studied in Egypt." This is a
Yes.
shock for many of us, and obviously it creates conflict
Yes.
before we can resume. But so this is what I did and I continue to do, and I'm so much at peace with myself and the people around me when I decided that I don't want to live the life designed by those people, but to live the life designed by my ancestors because I
Can I
am
ask
who I
you?
am.
That's it. And I wanted to pause there because that's the decision ultimately we are making if we are to create generational wealth. Okay,
Yes.
because it's an altered mindset, and I'm heartened by the quote you supplied to me prior to this show by Steve Biko. You mentioned his name. I'm
Yes.
going to read that quote if I may.
Please.
You say, Steve Biko, the greatest weapon in the hand of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Being black is not a matter of pigmentation. Being black is a reflection of a mental attitude. We must not, we must be free, not because we claim freedom, because we practice it. It's that last sentence I want to just repeat. We must free, not because we claim freedom, but because we practice it. Okay? And I've found those who create real wealth, generational wealth, those words are an integral part of their psychology. It's practice every day. Okay. If I may, Jose, I now want to go to your organization. Um, you might just want to just begin by describing what is the first of all, the philosophy of the organization, first of all. Then I'll ask about the internal mechanics. But first of all, the philosophy. What does it mean? Because it's got a very grandiose name. Okay. So explain what is the underlying philosophy? Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for the question, brother. The again, is as I said, it's been a journey and continue to be a journey, a joyful, joyful journey. Remember when I said before, when we came to realization that doesn't matter how good job we have, we are at the
Mhm,
bottom of the pyramid
mhm,
because all of us are not respected, in no shape or form. So then we decide, okay, you know what? For the rest of our life, all the resource that we have, we're going to invest in creating an organization which is going to emulate what our ancestors designed.
mhm, mhm.
So, so the philosophy that we apply in our organization is purely Ubuntu. You are not allowed to say I, myself, and I. No, we, because for
Precisely.
me, as long as you are not wealthy
Mhm,
and protected and powerful
mhm,
and prosperous, I am
mhm,
not.
mhm.
To the point that in one of our videos we say it very clearly that um, in Ubuntu terms, which is our philosophy, um, I am only wealthy if you are.
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
if you are not wealthy, so if I see a brother homelessly on the street, it's part of me. So I can't be claiming that I'm successful because I'm driving the latest whatever motor, wah 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 wah. I don't, if I look at it, that brother there is part of me. And so
Yes.
this is what Ubuntu is all about. And this is the philosophy that we live in our organization. We do many things, but anybody who wants to liaise with us need to understand that this is what we stand for.
If I may ask you that point, because I know at another place, another meeting, this was queried. Okay, it's the use use of the descriptor Ubuntu, and how relevant is it to the whole continent, or is it relevant in terms of a philosophical base to a part of the continent? How would you respond to that attempt at further division? You know.
No. Well, first of all, I wanted to just mention something which I'm sure will shock many people, but I would encourage everybody to, whatever we are speaking here, get out of the box and research
Independent
themselves,
research. Yeah.
independently research themselves.
Yes.
I don't know if many people know that until the European destroyed the Ubuntu philosophy, They
Mhm.
did not win a single war against Africans.
Say that again. Say it
I,
again, please. Say it
I,
louder.
I don't I don't know if many people know that until the Europeans destroyed the Ubuntu philosophy, they did not win a single war against Africa.
Mhm. There you go. Yeah.
This is simple. So
Profound.
Ubuntu is
Yes.
yeah, it's not just to one corner of Africa or
Mhm.
another corner of Africa. No, this is our being.
Mhm.
Ubuntu is a way of life. It's not
Mhm.
something that you decide to do. Okay, I do it in the morning, forget afternoon and evening. It's a total transformational way of living.
Mhm.
And to the point that if you look some greetings, I mean, many of us got the thing. The greetings, for example, for us, when somebody come to greet you, by the time he finished the greeting, it's time for you to have lunch. I mean,
It's true.
because we are
Yes.
community people. This is
Yes.
what we are. And for example, where I come from, the way you greet your brother or sister or grandma or say is a sawabona. So
Yes.
basically, I'm asking you, can I see you? I'm seeing you well.
Mhm.
How are you?
Yes.
So all encompass in that small sawabona, and then you reply, I'm here. I am
Mm.
alive. I am happy. I'm before
Absolutely.
you.
Yes.
So this type of interaction just on its own give you the dimension
Mhm.
of I would say warmth of us as people. So Ubuntu is not just small little philosophy created in one corner of Africa. No, it is a continental wide. Of course, we've got loads of invaders, as we know, loads of quote unquote Arabs,
Yes. Mhm.
which came to the north and to the east, and so there is some adulteration there because of interference of people plus the enslavement of our
Yes.
people. So
Yes.
all of those things got a thing, but the philosophy, the mother origin is there. And for those people who like, for example, they can see take it to a bit of a spiritual level, which
Mhm.
is we've got oneness in our culture, in
Yes.
our Ubuntu, which is the body, the mind, and the spirit.
Yes.
Okay, this is all us. Now, of course, some religion pick it up and they said it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy
Holy
Spirit.
Ghost. Yes.
This is adulteration again of what we are, because in us you've got oneness. This is where the thing goes. You've got another adulteration, which is the tree of life, and then tree of knowledge. you
Yes.
know
Mhm.
the tree of life, which is oneness, body, mind, and spirit, of course being adulterated by the whatever.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
we're not going to go into there,
No. No.
but
No.
it's just
No.
the more we dig in, the more we're going to see. My God, these people been been telling us some story which has nothing to do with reality.
Mhm.
But anyway,
And just for the audience, I want to keep emphasizing here what Jose is now doing is providing context before we get to the part of the show, which I know many of you are keen to hear, how to create generational wealth, yeah, or asset, I should say, asset wealth.
yeah,
Okay, I think, but this context is so vital. And those of you who are in business and have got partners, business partners, you know that your business partner need to share the same outlook as yourself. Okay. Otherwise, that person is not going to be a successful partner. So, creating context, understanding the underlying philosophy that we all share. Okay. And if there's concordance, agreement on that philosophy, you have a foundation, relatively firm foundation, now to accumulate generational wealth. Over to you,
okay,
Jose.
okay. Thanks a lot for that, brother.
Mm.
So as I was saying, so we follow our Ubuntu philosophy.
Mhm.
We are, we've got a community, of course, of members, and in that joy of being all together, we
Yes.
share with the brothers and sisters
Hmm.
pro bono, what is very critical in changing our mindset, in changing our living, which is financial education that we provide, financial literacy. But brothers and
I'm really
sisters,
sorry to interrupt you again, Joseph,
yeah,
because of course I remember this previously. You see, so I'm making sure we learn those lessons. Use the term pro bono. Okay,
yeah,
I know what it means, but I've learned in life never to presume. I'm going to
So,
invite you to describe the meaning.
yeah, so pro bono means okay, free. So we provide free education.
Mhm.
The to people, to the not so young, to young, and to babies, if you like,
Right.
with the view of starting changing the mindset,
Mhm.
because where we are now as people, we need to understand
Mhm.
what the system is doing to us. So let me
Yes.
just go slightly back. All of us learn that, to create wealth, you go and open a business, and your business is successful, and then you create wealth. Okay, you know of Steve Jobs, you know of Steve Bezos, or whatever, whatever, whatever. But we, most of us, did not um, is not aware, or are not aware, that this system is what we call pyramidal system. So millions of us work for three or four to benefit. Now, if we as people go and create the same thing, we are creating again a multiplication of this pyramid, which is, I open a business, I've got 5 or 10 people working for me, uh, I bribe them with what I call salary, and what I'm doing, I'm extending the poverty across my own community, believing that all matters is I and my family. So
Right.
as long as my business is quote unquote successful, it doesn't matter how many people I exploit, how many people I work for me, I'm fine. But let's go a bit deeper in our in across the world. How
And
many?
forgive me, Joseph.
Yeah.
Again, this is none of those important junction points because you're displaying selflessness
Yes. Yes. So
in a
the
community where we've got hyper individualism. Where people just want to do things for themselves. Selflessness is a concept which I know others here who are listening and viewing will struggle with. Explain.
yeah. So basically, the when I put myself in a position to me myself and I benefit from the work and resource of other people,
Mhm.
I may succeed to be the successful or to become wealthy. But what I'm doing actually, I'm extending the poverty for the rest of them.
Mhm.
It's a fact.
Mhm.
Now, what we don't understand is that easily the system can take me out.
That's
The
right.
system can destroy me
That's right.
immediately. Very simple. Let me give one example, which is many of us may be, somebody might have heard of this Andrew Tate or whatever it is. Okay, he was at the top of one organization. It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about what the
Understood.
organization did,
Yes.
if it's good or bad. This is not the point. The point is that he was the top of organization, very successful. People said whatever, whatever, whatever. What
Mhm.
happened? When the system didn't like the face of him, the system took him out. And once the system takes him out, what happened? Not just the organization was destroyed, but all the people who work, who were in poverty, are going to continue to go in poverty.
That's
So they're
right.
going to continue to look for job.
That's right.
And we've got many other examples
Yes.
out there. So if I put myself at the top of the pyramid, I'm not doing myself a favor. I'm not doing even a favor to my, I mean, temporarily, I'm living, everybody invite me to television, to radio, and I'm looking good and so. But in long term, I am not, I've not been strategic. I've not been wise enough to protect myself. So this is the reason why, if we look in the United States, if we look in this Europe that we are now, the so-called millionaires and billionaires of our community
Hmm.
are very easily destroyed.
Yes.
Very easily destroyed. Why? Because they are at the top, and everybody at the bottom, they are totally disconnected from the poor people who
Hmm.
work for them. And then when the system take them out,
Hmm.
boom, you've got a crumble
That's
for the
right.
old castle. So Ubuntu solve out this problem immediately,
Hmm.
because in Ubuntu, you don't create a pyramid structure, you create a flat structure.
Yes.
So this is the reason when you come to Umoja, you don't have titles. We
Hmm.
don't have a chief executive of this, a vice president of that, because all of those things are simple mechanism of of isolation,
Indeed.
which the people can take out. You come to Umoja, everybody got function, everybody got responsibility, everybody got role, but nobody got title, because we are not interested. We want to work for whatever I do affects you, brother, and
Yes.
whatever you do affects me. So
Yes.
why is it important for me to turn up and say I'm the chairman of this chairman? It's totally irrelevant. So this is the point that I wanted to make, for everybody to just think a bit, that how good is the position that we've been taking, driving this latest car. Okay, that's
Mhm.
good. Is an old brother of yours, does the latest car define you? I'm not so sure. You know, because for me, I've been there, done all of those things, jump up and down, and so. And I did to myself, honestly, whenever I was walking the room, oh, look at another guy. So they've got a particular designation for me. So
Mhm.
none of these things is really relevant.
All
So
right.
this is the philosophy that we follow in our organization.
Okay.
And believe you me, not just me. You can speak with anybody in the organization, and this is what we do. We don't look at you because you've got an expensive suit or whatever. Whatever is relevant.
Right.
What value are you bringing to the community?
I
What
understand you.
value are you bringing to? This is what matters. Anything else is relevant.
Okay. And thank you for that descriptor.
Yeah.
I know that many will be listening to this and they might assume this is a version of what we were familiar here of a cooperative.
Yes and no.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, cooperative again is an adulteration created by somebody else.
Hmm.
What we apply communalism,
Okay.
not communism, not socialism,
Hmm.
not capitalism,
Hmm.
not cooperativism, none of this. What we apply is communalism.
Hmm.
Communalism is a economic philosophy created by our ancestors way before capitalism and all the rest of it,
Hmm.
which allow you to take responsibility for whatever you do for the betterment of the community,
Absolutely.
not you.
Yes.
And but people say, well, it's socialism. No, it's not, because in socialism, some people got a lot and they share it with the rest.
Indeed.
In communalism, is everybody is the owner of everything.
Right.
So I don't work for you or you work for me. I
Mhm.
work for the betterment of the community because I'm a
Community.
part of community and I'm owner as well of this. Just to tell you, for example, we don't have employees. There's no employees. No, there's no employees. Everybody is co-owner. So
Okay.
when they cheat, or if somebody decides to cheat, he's cheating on himself.
Yes.
He can't cheat on it. But if you go to socialism, people cheat,
Yes.
as we know. If you go
Yes.
to communism, they do the same thing.
Yes.
But in communalism, you don't have that chance, and you don't need a police or judge to tell you, oh, you did wrong. You don't, because you look at yourself. Okay, if I take this bread and take it away or so, actually, what I'm doing, I'm taking my own bread. So why would I steal myself? Why would I rob myself? There's no point.
All right. Now that's very clear, and you've given a very clear distinction between socialism and communalism. Okay,
Yeah.
communalism and of course the cooperative movement. But you say the cooperative movement is a derivation of it, because why is it different between a cooperative and communalism? What is the clear distinction? Because I'm very familiar with cooperatives, okay, but give it just one more time, because I know that people like myself who've lived in the West for all of our lives are totally embedded, and therefore we're going through a process of reactualization. Okay,
Yeah.
that is the process you've taken us through.
Yeah.
So just help us again. Just repeat or clarify this distinction so that we don't use that word cooperative by accident, please. Mhm.
Okay. First of all, as you know, if you go to cooperativism, for example, let's say UK, you've got
Mhm.
tons of cooperatives,
Yes.
tons of them. Cooperative of agriculture, cooperative of mining, cooperative. So you've got isolated units
Hmm.
for group of people.
Hmm.
This is cooperativism. In communalism, is for the whole society. It's not just
Yes.
just for me and my friends, or me who live in South London, or for me who is in agriculture. No, no,
Hmm.
no, no. For example, in communalism, you are a farmer, but at the same time,
Hmm.
you're not a miner, but the mine belongs to you too.
Yes.
This is what
Okay.
communalism is. So
Yes.
you are owner of the whole assets, or part
Hmm.
of the whole assets of the whole society,
Yes.
not just part of the in cooperative. If you are a member, you are a owner or co-owner of it. But if you're not part of that cooperative, you are not co-owner of it at all.
Hmm.
You are totally isolated.
I understand.
In communalism, it doesn't matter if you're in London or if the asset is in Edinburgh. It does not matter, because that asset in Edinburgh is, you are also co-owner of that.
Brilliant,
You
brilliant.
know,
Very well said. And I know that we've got that. And now you've preempted my next question. You've used a. 'Cause we're in Britain right now. We're based in London at the moment, and you've used another town in Britain as an example. It doesn't matter where the location of the asset might
yeah,
reside.
yeah.
Um, is it possible to set up a a a system as you described under British law?
Well, wait, no, no. Well, if it is, yes, you can create it as a community,
Uh huh.
but you need to be fully aware that that community is not circumventing just to Britain. Okay,
Understood.
so
Yes.
we're going to create, if we decided to follow communalism, we're
Mm,
going to say this communalism is for people of African descent. It
mhm,
does not matter, again, the same situation, London and Edinburgh. It doesn't matter, you are in Britain, you in the United States, you in Brazil, you in New Zealand, you in South Africa, is irrelevant. Why? Because the assets that you create in that community
mhm.
belongs to the
The-
guy who is in Brazil, the one who is in Panama, as well as the one who is in New Zealand. So in
Understood.
this case, we can create it, because the geographical distinction created, which is another thing that those guys created, divided to rule,
Mhm.
is just virtual. It's just,
Yes.
it's just imaginary, because in reality there's no boundary.
Understood. Understood. Um, uh, just to be clear in that case, because I know that there are quite a number of entrepreneurs who are listening and are wanting to find means by which they can raise capital for their business. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Um, so what you're presenting to them is an alternative model to their current model. Okay.
Yes.
Why is this model better than the current model? Limited company, it seeks to make a profit. It will, once it makes that profit, reinvest, and of course, the owners are able and others are able to take salaries. Why is the communalism a better alternative to the one that they're currently pursuing?
Yeah. First of all, we need to go slightly back.
Okay.
According, for if you look into the capitalism society or model, which is the one we live in,
Mhm.
is about the capital,
Yes.
okay, and is about the minority
Yes.
benefiting from the service provided by the majority.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it
Yes.
doesn't matter how good you are, you alone, you cannot produce this old service for the whole UK population. You can't.
Mhm.
You can't. So you need to have a bunch of people working for you.
Mhm.
Okay. So once you've got that, you are creating a pyramid where you and your partners are going to benefit from the service provided by this thing. So resources provided by those people. So therefore, your business can be successful.
Mhm.
Then we're gonna say, oh, I pick up the money and I decide to reinvest. Now, who makes that decision? It's
Mhm.
not the community, it's you. Because if you make 100 million pounds and decide to reinvest 1 million, nobody can come and tell you invest the other 99. It's
Mhm.
your decision. So you still be the person or the small group of people who decide to send crumbs to the community. You,
Right. Okay.
it's,
Yes.
it's, it's not the community deciding.
Yes.
Another thing that we need to be aware, if
Yes.
you look into Britain now, who are the people who are majority of member of parliament? They don't come from a from the bottom of the society.
No,
They don't.
no.
So who are they? So they are so-called privileged because the parents and grandparents and great-grandparents create wealth.
Yes.
This give them the opportunity for them to run for politics.
Hmm.
I give them the opportunity for them to run all their life. And many of them, they never had any profession, any trade. They go to
This is true.
university
True.
and they come and they talk, nothing in practice.
Mm.
Now, if we are happy with this system, that's fine. But what I can say, Britain is about 65, 60, 80 million people. I can guarantee you this country is run by less than 100,000 people.
Yes.
That's it.
Correct.
All the rest of us follow what those 100,000 people decide.
Yes.
In communalism, it's not going to happen. You know why? Because the asset, the parliament, the country, the it belongs to all of us.
Absolutely.
And in that regard, my son cannot be the privileged one who the only one who runs and your son cannot. It just doesn't make sense because if you look into that, the same. By the way, obviously most of us know the which university majority of MP come from. Which one?
Oh yes, yes. For
So,
those who have already have wealth and can afford the best possible education, it
eh,
is
but
true.
but my
Yes.
question is that how on earth only the wealthy children
Hmm.
get places in Cambridge and Oxford?
This is
Eh,
true.
yeah.
Yep.
How are you telling me that they're more intelligent?
No.
Hmm.
No. No. No.
I
No.
bet to differ.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
so this is the thing. So when you create the capitalism system, you create a system of privilege and a pyramid.
Yes.
And those guys who are at the top, they will never ever want to leave the top, and they will stay there forever. Yeah,
All
and the
right
rest
then,
of us
Jesse.
will.
Okay. I'm this conscious of time, so I'm now going to go to the next phase. It's implementation. Implementation. Okay. The whole purpose of these shows is translate words into action. We've heard some great words. They are meaningful. There's a question here in the chat. Where can listeners, viewers, independently read up on Ubuntu? We might return that question later on. And secondly, what are the ways the Black community could implement some of your suggestions, which is what I'm going to get on to right now. And of course, another writer here says also some difficulty as we live under laws and regulations, etc. There's a belief, as I hinted earlier on, that laws and regulations might make this challenging. Implementation. Is there a working exemplar operating or branch of Ubuntu operating here in Britain, for example?
Yes, we do. Of course, the headquarters is here in Britain.
Okay,
We've got, of course, we are open book for everybody who wants to come and check. Please
that's all right.
just give
That's
us a
okay.
call. We've
That's all
got
right.
website there which we give you information also. But if you're not, we are descendants of Africans, so we will open the office and give you the time to talk to you and show you what it is. So we are here.
Okay.
Uh,
The next question, if I may, my next question, because of course there are quite a number of business people listen to this, and they're trying to determine the direction of their business because access to capital is very challenging.
yeah,
Okay, and I know my parents. My parents arrived here in the 50s and 60s. That they had to set up their own financial institution to use partners. In fact, Ubuntu really, because of course we all owned the asset, yeah. And in sharing our resources, each of us were able to acquire assets, housing, in other words. Okay, now. So, a question which has been put to me on the WhatsApp is, what is the curve? What does the asset value curve look like? Is it relatively flat or is it quite steep? Are you acquiring assets at a rate of knots because your members are increasing at the rate of knots, or is it relatively flat progression over the past 5 years?
yeah. First of all, just to touch on what you just mentioned, which is the
Mm,
partner.
yes.
Some people call it Susu, other people call it
Indeed, yes.
Shikila, and whatever.
Yes.
I wanted to announce, if for those who want, We will be launching on the 27th of October our platform called Ubuntuverse. And this platform is one of the very few in this country and around the world which is bringing back the Padma or Susu or Barta or
Hmm.
whatever way you want to call it. Okay, we are bringing it back. Okay,
Wow.
yeah, we are bringing it back.
Brilliant.
Is encrypted, is secure, and allow you anywhere in the world, any time of the day, to go and check it yourself for the benefit. So I have to say that I'm extremely proud of my brothers and sisters who are working tirelessly in that regard. In terms of asset growth, the
Hmm.
surprising thing is that asset growth for us has been very steep in terms of this going
Hmm.
north,
Okay.
very north.
All right.
Why? Because first of all, because this is what we do, what we've been doing for the last God knows a number of years, and we are very peculiar in what. So let me just say briefly, for us to get ourselves into any business, we've got a committee called evaluation committee. We've got 7 members.
Hmm.
This evaluation committee, we really chew in terms of due diligence, whatever project come to us. Okay,
Okay.
and only after 50 or so odd questions and back and forth, and so only once we done all our calculation and the thing, this is when the project is approved. So we don't take it lightly. It's not
Hmm.
just you come and do. We don't do this kind of thing. The others is there are many areas which are very profitable,
Yes.
very asset growth exponentially in our community, that we are blind to, or many people are blind to, many. So if we pay a bit of attention, we stop putting money and investment in those so-called common areas where we are going, and the growth is very limited. Britain economy, if you want to grow asset, Britain is not the place for you to grow asset. Or if you want to grow asset quicker, it's not.
No.
So the Western world in general is not the place for you to grow asset quicker. Now, I can tell you, for example, if you invest, let's say, £100,000 in anywhere in Africa, anywhere in Africa that I know of, right? I can guarantee you, in a matter of 2 3 years, you've got 10, 15, 20 fold of your money easily.
Growth.
Now,
Yes. Yeah.
the question always come, oh, how do I verify that? How do I check that? In our organization, we've got the monitoring committee. Monitoring committee got 5 people, and the job of those people, they're the auditors. They get on the plane, go there, and see if the organization is following the Ubuntu principle, if they're doing what they're supposed to do, if the guy or the girl who is working, they are doing what they should do, and every month they have to report back
Hmm.
detail what this organization is doing. So we're not taking it like just come and talk and talk. No, no, no. We've got our hands dirty. We
Yes.
are getting it very dirty. The other situation that I need brothers and sisters to understand, please, there are other ways of you raising money. Going to the bank is suicidal. It's suicidal. Why? First of all, the bank, if they give you money, they charge you a lot.
Yes.
Two, you run the risk of giving away your intellectual property, for free, because the bank manager say, "Oh, I don't like the project," and so 3 6 months down the line, the same project that you present to him is implemented by somebody else. You know
That's
why?
right.
He
Yep.
stole your idea, gave it
That's
to
right.
his friend, gave the friend money,
That's right.
boom, they
That's
did
right.
it.
Yep.
So please stop going to the bank. It's suicidal. There are alternative way of raising money. Come to us, talk to us. It costs you nothing,
Hmm.
and we will teach you many ways of raising capital. You don't
Right.
need to be giving your intellectual property away, and do the thing and create. No need for that. So
You,
just to tell,
just to be clear, so make
yeah,
sure it's heard. You will teach the viewers, teach the listeners how to raise capital,
yes, alternative ways of raising capital. To be more,
alternative ways to
yes,
raise capital.
to be more
Brilliant.
specific, and
Brilliant.
and the capital does not need to be expensive. It
Hmm.
doesn't. Now, the model that we learn is that, oh, I've go to the bank, or if I'm going to do business, let me keep it for myself and my family, because everyone's going to say
Hmm.
this is suicidal. If the viewers wanted to come to us, we will show you how, if you've got 4 partners, for example, you make a lot of more money than if you work on your own. A
Absolutely.
lot more money with 4
Absolutely.
partners or
Yes.
2 or
Yes.
10. So
Yes.
so this is the thing. So there is a bit of work that we need to do, but hey, we are just happy to do that.
I think that's such an important observation. I've found in my public life the businesses that are most likely to survive usually are where you have a couple working together and they've got children working with them in that business. Okay.
Yes.
And the couples or individual members of the family have different skills, but because there's a shared family bond, in other words, communalism, as in
Yeah.
other words, okay,
Yeah.
that bond provides us a sense of trust and harmonious, well, usually harmonious, he says, the potential for harmonious relation because there's a mutual respect for each other.
Yeah.
Okay, mutual respect I've found in business is a vital ingredient. Trust is clearly we verify anyway,
Yeah.
but respect is a vital ingredient. Okay, so what you describe is a creation of a family. Yep, a well-structured family. Okay,
Yeah.
working with common aim and common purpose. Okay,
Yeah.
and you've described that your asset curve. Okay, because this is the important part of why this show is important. The asset curve compared to comparable funds, let's say, your asset curve compares favorably, if not better, than most, if not all. Okay,
Yeah.
and I think that's useful, and you're also able to provide advice. I'll use your term for a moment, pro bono, uh, pro bono advice how to raise alternative assets. Okay, in
Yeah.
other words, you're thinking outside the box. You're not thinking in the linear manner which we are traditionally taught here in the UK or in the West. I think that's important. Um, I'm going to open the phone line in a moment, but if if listeners and viewers want to find out more, is there an event that they can attend? Is there a telephone number or email address or website that you wish to quote that we should share with them today?
Yeah, absolutely. We have been doing. Thanks a lot for that, brother. Just let me go slightly back on what you just said about the family
Okay,
structure,
okay,
because what many people don't understand or didn't take time to understand is that it's not money who makes the business. Business make money. It's not the other way around. So people
absolutely.
say,
Well
oh,
said.
give me money and I'll go. So just to say that the resources that you just mentioned, for example, you are a lawyer and I am, I don't know, business person of finance background, and we get somebody who's marketing.
Mhm.
What you just said now is crucial because my marketing partner, when he's putting the marketing strategy together, for
Mhm.
example, he puts the best. Why? Because he's got a vested interest.
That's right.
If I go to pay a marketing specialist or because I paid him, he does whatever he does.
Mhm.
And he's not accountable to that
Mhm.
as long as he presents. But okay, Chala. But just to answer your question is
Mhm.
that yes, we've got an event that we've been running for more than 3 years now called Ubuntu Economics. Is every Tuesday, 7 o'clock UK time. It's been
Right.
running non-stop, no holiday for the last 3 years,
Oh
and
wow.
we will continue
Yes.
to do that every Tuesday. Again, it's a free event, but I can guarantee you the speakers that we bring there or your friend brothers that we bring there, and so on and so forth. So it's of people say it's of a really high quality service. Yes, we've got a few websites.
Now,
Um,
before you give out the website details, and I will, we will not lose these points. Don't you worry. I've got a caller on the line. I just want to take this caller as the caller is bothered to call. Caller, can I have your name, please?
Yeah, brother.
Oh, brother Akram, just keep talking, brother Akram. I can just about hear your voice. Do you have a question for my guest, Jose?
Well, not so much a question. I mean, I've been listening to him, and the point is, what I'm looking at it, as you know, I'm founder of the African Cooperative Union here in
Ah,
UK,
right. Yes,
and
yes,
this is very much in my is a part of my mindset, which I've been trying to get to our people for the last 13 years. Now, I mean, what he said is that it's a community thing, which is I mean, I don't see that much difference from what he's trying to do from being a cooperative.
Okay.
And
Can I before you forgive me, Brother Come? I know I've already probed that aspect of communalism. Okay. So I'm just conscious of time. I want to tackle that one again because just for your benefit and for the benefit of others who've not heard the distinction between the cooperative, which is a anyway, I'll let Jose explain, and of course, what is communalism. So just listen carefully now and listen to what he says. Over to you, Jose.
Yeah. I know Brother Akram, and maybe he knows me
Oh,
too.
good.
Brother Akram, with due respect, cooperative is very sectorial. It's very limited group of people. Okay, and of course we can create a cooperative for whatever it is, as wide as we want. But again, is exclusive club. Okay, when you're talking about communalism, for example, if you bring it to the UK, there's no opportunity of exclusion of anybody. Okay, everybody who quote unquote is British citizen or live in Britain are part of it, and they have to contribute to it. In the case of cooperative, whatever union we want to call it, it is an organization, it's a business organization that we create for that purpose, and we have a group of people who make decision on behalf of the rest of us. Okay, this is what happened with cooperative. I mean, I don't want to single out one cooperative and another one. Communalism is totally different. Communalism is economic system, is not cooperativism is inside capitalism system. Communalism is a system on its own, is much wider and richer than cooperative. And actually, to be fair, technically, we should never ever come to a mistake to compare one sector of one system with the entire old system, which is another one. So this is not, they're not talking the same language. So just to say this, that communalism is that for everybody, and it's not exclusive club, and on top of that, it's not some of us are better to make decision on behalf of the rest.
Thank you.
Again, people can have their own opinion, so we respect that.
Thank you. I believe we may have, he's now gone. We now have I believe Brother Kwame Corner. Can I just ask your name, please?
It's Brother Kwame from Accra via London.
Good morning, and thank you for calling. Do you have a question for my guest, Jose?
Yeah, I want to ask a very brief question. So, in light of what happened this week in Peckham, does he believe that one way to create the intergenerational wealth that he talked about is by cooperative economics and by ethnocentric economics? Thank you.
Well, brother, we thanks a lot for the question. We go back to the same situation. What happened to us as a community, okay, is down to our social economic status. End of story.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, whether we are happy with it or not, this is the situation. Let me give 2 or 3 examples. I don't know, for people who follow the news in the UK, a couple of years ago, there was a shadow education secretary in this country who reposted a tweet, retweeted a message which says that what killed the technique used to kill George Floyd was taught by Jewish police or Jewish whatever it is. In less than few minutes, that minister, that shadow secretary was dismissed, resigned. Yes. I give example of, again, Diana Abo, that many people know. She made a quote, in my opinion, rightly so, because she compared and she said the discrimination racism that we suffer is not the same as whatever it is. Yes. She came to apologize. They removed the whip off her, humiliated her, end of story. Please tell me, when anybody says anything derogative, bad, insulting to us, when that person is... We've got another example. There was a girl, baby Q, which was whatever. Nothing happened.
Yes.
We had the case of the school. where a 15-year-old girl in this country was literally battered. What happened? Nothing. So I want to tell that brother there that the only way for us to stop this nonsense is for us to raise up. And how do you do that? You need to create prosperity for yourself. And how do you do that? You need to create generation wealth. Yes, you may not benefit from it. You may not, but your great grandchildren will benefit because
Thank you.
the
Thank you.
Europeans are benefiting from this today by dividing Africa in 1884. None of them is alive anymore. None of them.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that response. I believe we've got Brother Akram back. Brother Akram, are you still there?
Yeah, I lost half of what he said,
Yes.
but I do get the gist of what he's coming with. As I said, sadly, time does not permit for me to go into what I'd like to say. But basically, I don't like brother.
Forgive me, Brother Akram. Forgive me, Brother Akram. I think what I'm going to do in your case, because I must say I overlaid much of your words, because you and I have known each other for some time, to Jose earlier on. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up a three-way conversation between us. Okay, we need to have this conversation. Now is not the time to do this, because you can appreciate. But I'm interested to hear, because I know you're committed to the cooperative movement, and I respect that absolutely. But I'm now that it's been explained in such clear ways to us this morning, what is communalism? Okay, it is clear to me the distinction between that and the cooperative movement that you and I recognize. I can see the distinction, but we need to have a further discussion, because I'm familiar with the African Cooperative Union and understand the underlying philosophy and intent behind it, which are similar. Don't misunderstand. There are similarities, but there are some distinctions. They may not be important, but on the other hand, they may well be very important in terms of the overall success of either organization. So if you don't mind, on this occasion, I'm going to foreclose your call for now, but I will, within the next few days, call a joint meeting.
Can I just have 1 minute, please? Just 1 minute.
Well, if you can put a question, I'm not going to take a speech right now. I'm almost out of time.
Your leader, Jeremy Corbyn, wanted to set up cooperative in this country, right? He said if he was elected as leader, majority of the companies that closed down would not have closed down, because he would have get the people who are the workers in those to take over, right? That's what.
Oh, I've lost him again. He must forgive me, callers. What should happen, you should all come into a pool and I'm able to identify you. That facility doesn't seem to be working on the telephone lines. So each time someone calls, anyway. I'll take this one last call with number ending 4961.
Yes.
Yes. Good morning. Can I just have your name, please?
It's Glenda True.
Good morning to you, Glenda. Yes, Sister Glenda.
Yes,
do you have a question for my guest?
How does communalism work? What is the process to achieve communalism?
Yeah, okay. That's the right question. That is the right question. Yes, go ahead.
Well, yeah.
Can I ask you, Glenda, to listen offline? Okay, because I'm going to close down the phone lines now, so that I'll give Jose the opportunity to respond to that important question, and there's some other supplementary questions I need to ask of him. But keep listening. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thanks a lot for Sister Glenda for the question. First of all, for us to be able to apply communalism, we have to, if you like, decolonize our mind.
Yes.
Because what happens with most of us is that there is a conflict between what we've been doing and listening to and reading for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years, as opposed to something which just come right now. Yes. And of course, there is a conflict. So all I'm asking brothers and sisters is to do the best you can to come out of the frame that you know of capitalism, right? Yep. That is similar, and then start building. Now, the first step to create, if you like, communalism is to create asset-based wealth.
That's right.
Okay, so the first step is nothing to do with capital, is nothing to do with asset-based wealth. Okay, and then you add that wealth with resources and build it from bottom up. So when you go to a community, for example, let's say you've got 100 people, you are not going to create a business where 100 people are going to work for you, and you create cooperative where 10 of those people belong to the thing, and then once you made the profit, you're going to give the crumbs to the community. No, it doesn't work that way. The way it works is that, brothers and sisters of this community, this is the community, right? Now, what are you? Okay, I'm a shoemaker. What are you? I am a farmer. What are you? I am a bread, a baker, whatever. So you need to come out, put all of those skills on the table, because they are all resources. They are all convertible to money. And then you create a system where each one of these individuals participate with their resources. Money is very irrelevant in this particular scenario. Okay, so you put this, and this is how you do, because everybody can participate in every business on earth. Everybody.
Right.
So once you create this with these 100 people, and they start building asset, growing the asset, and then this is what, and then of course you can I'm talking about 100 people, but I'm talking about 68 million as well. And you build it up, and then of course educate people, school, training, and things like this to do. And this is how it is done.
Yes.
But you cannot actually decide to be on the fence. Oh, I am a capitalist and I'm a communist at the same time. If you do that, then it should not work.
Will not work.
So this is what I would. But again, Sister Glenda, I think I know Sister Glenda too. We are here. I mean, we're going nowhere. I mean, for the time we say, so come to us and let's have a discussion. Even Brother Akram, we had a few meetings with him already anyway. We are more than happy. Yeah, we have invited him. Let's work together. I mean, there's no such a thing that we know it all. We don't believe in that. We know one or two things, and the other people know 10, 20, 30, and let's work together. For me.
Okay. So, Ben, if I may, so you mentioned the event. Can I just ask you to repeat the event that you mentioned earlier on? And then I'm going to ask you for the website details and email address as well. Okay, go ahead.
The event is Ubuntu Economics. Is as I said, it is every Tuesday, 7 o'clock UK time. And it normally runs from 7 to 9, 5 minutes on, 5 minutes less. And it is a free event. We've been running it for over 3 years. Okay, and that's it.
Okay. And how do they register? How did they do this?
Yes, we run it via Zoom at the minute. And again, it's one of those things that we've been looking, and we were going to continue to look to have a brother who's got a system which does the same thing and is reliable for us to use. Because honestly, we wanted to avoid sending money to another community.
Absolutely. So, if I may, so the details I'm just going to present the details that I have for yourself here. This is correct, yes?
Your website,
Yep. There you go.
76107.
Yes,
sure. It is. Yes, it
is. Good. So the website address that we've discussed this today, it should be www. By the way, it's UGE Wealth. In other words, WEALTH.com.
Yeah.
UGEWEALTH.com.
Yeah.
Okay. And email, you can send an email to info at, again, UGEWEALTH.com. And there's a website telephone number, that's correct, yeah, which is, if you're in the UK, it's 0, but if you're outside, it's +44, followed by 796 107 1322. I repeat that number. If you're in the UK, it's 07. If you're outside the UK, it's +44, then 7. Then it's 961 071 322. Okay. The event is held online, and they'll simply, should they put anything, a specific text wording on the email to you?
Yeah, they can. If they do so, we will email them the Zoom link, and that's it. I mean, it's very straightforward. There's
Brilliant,
nothing
brilliant,
there
brilliant,
required
brilliant.
for them to do.
All right. So,
Yeah.
yep. So if you're, as I said, if you're viewing us by YouTube or Facebook, you can see the information on screen. And I've read out the information. I'll just read out the information one more time on the website, which is its website is www.ugewealth, in other words, ugewealth.com. And of course, it's info@ugewealth.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that's the way to contact Jose. And I want to commend this African-centric wealth, communal wealth creation program. I want to commend it. It's been very carefully explained. All other systems of wealth creation are but derivatives of the systems that we originated in Africa. Okay?
Yeah.
We simply don't get the credit for it. Okay? That is the nature of the propaganda that we've been exposed to, all of us, from all of our lives. Okay? And the psychosis example was a very good example of how others copyright our knowledge. Okay. Now, so I'm just conscious of time. So, is there a closing word you wish to share with the audience?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot for that, brother. Thanks a lot
course.
for brothers and sisters who took time to listen. As we mentioned before, we are here. Very accessible. It's not just me, as I said. Our organization got many people, and feel free to reach out to us, and we would, of course, if you've got a business that you want to, to talk about. There are just two things I wanted to mention. As we like to have our hands dirty, there is one thing that we put together. It took us 15 months to do, which is our Ubuntu Awakening Summit.
Mm-hmm.
This summit will happen in Jamaica between
wow.
the 5th and 10th of February 2024. This summit obviously is for us, by us, with us, and is a summit of reverse of the triangle. So many people have heard the transatlantic trade triangle, which is European left Europe, went to Africa, and pick up our ancestors, took them to the Americas. With the money that they made there, they bought technology, they bought spices, and brought it to Europe. This is the triangle. So in our research, we found that more than 99% of us left the continent against our will.
Yes.
More than that. So in that regard, we came out of slavery, colonization, education, whatever propaganda, we left there not because we wanted it, but because we were forced to. So what Umoja is doing the reverse triangle. We are telling all brothers and sisters, let's go back. But you can't go back physical before you go in spiritual.
Yes.
So we are doing this event as a clear message that we leave Europe, go to the Americas to pick up our brothers and sisters, right? Go bring them to Africa. Reverse triangle. Okay. Now this event, which is a summit, Umoja Ubuntu Awakening Summit, which we believe is one of a kind. Why? First of all, we will show people in that event
for example, the sophisticated communication system that our ancestors used. For example, bombolon. I don't know if many people have heard bombolon. Bombolon look like a drum, but this is a very special drum. According to the beat, you know somebody died, somebody born. According to the beat, you know the village has been attacked. You know it's time to harvest. You know it's a funeral. You know it is a wedding. You know it's festive season. So it's a very sophisticated. When the European were living in the cave, we were developing this kind of technology. We will show our audience also ancestral village. When the European were living in the cave, we were living kings and queens in our community. We will show, not talk about, but we will show it. We will show, for example, our audience about something very, for example, the origin of life through a black woman's womb. A brother will explain this to us. We will also show, for example, where the yoga started, Kemetic yoga. Many people do yoga. They don't know that yoga started in Africa.
Indeed,
Okay?
indeed.
And for example, we will show them also Ubuntopoli, which is a game that teach you to create prosperity. Okay, it's a very new game, but you need to participate in it. We will show you, for example, the hair and beauty of our sisters.
Yes.
You know, by a sister especially, and we will have speakers or if you like collaborator like Joshua Maponga that you might have heard of, and you know that is going to be there. And to tell you the truth, it's going to be so nice because Bob Marley's birthday is on the 6th of February,
Yes.
and we will give you the treat to enjoy. Again, reach us and talk to us because, as we said, we are not here for the talk. We are here to do, and we are doing it. Join us and or at least find out a bit about us.
Brilliant.
Because so this is the message for everyone. Please do not read the propaganda or believe in propaganda. Improve your social economic condition, all of us, and then you're going to see that nobody's going to mistreat us on the street.
I cannot argue with you. Wonderful. Well said. Well said. Well said. Well said. And I'm confident the manner in which you've shared the information, okay, has resonated with many of the audience today. And I hope the audience will share the information with others, okay, that share links to this recording with others, okay. I want to say this to you, Joseph. When I completed my due diligence, as you know, I've known you for a little while now, for a mutual inspired friend, another inspired friend, okay? And it took a while to conduct the due diligence. It took a while, not because information wasn't accessible, but because of, look at me. The indoctrination had suffered for such a long time. It was difficult to comprehend what I was reading. And therefore, I questioned not every word, I questioned every syllable of what I was reading. Every syllable, you know, had no justification doing so. It's simply because I'd been subjected to a lifetime of negative Afrophobia, negative anti-African propaganda, you know, and it's amazing. Despite my robust and other thoughts, you know, I'm still affected by it, and I want to say to you and my colleague publicly, sorry. I should not have delayed. I should have simply jumped, because my instinct told me this is right. This is right. And you have such a wonderful, calm, and pleasant personality. Your aroma is, you know, your calm is so outstanding, and even that caused my to look further and look for fault. Of looking for fault, and that's what people are doing at the moment. They're looking for fault.
Yeah,
I can testify now, find no fault. Yeah, this is a system of governing our civilization, high civilization, for thousands of years. And you're so right. At the point at which this was not the means by which we controlled our civilizations, intruders were able to intrude on the motherland.
yeah, yeah.
It's a lesson we need to fully absorb.
Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation today. Our doors are always open to you. Okay, uh, this fantastic event in Jamaica. I suspect I'll need to attend this one. I have to say.
You
Okay,
have no option.
um,
You have no option,
I,
brother.
I would ask that you might want to come back maybe in December as a
Yeah.
prelude to it, and we will most certainly remind the audience that this event is happening and it's significant. You've described it really. It's very. It sounds all incredibly fantastic. So I want to go anyway, but I suspect as we get closer to the date, its attractiveness will increase even to those who are hardened at the moment and are wary. I suspect even they will concede. It is better that we do for self.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that, brother. But we say it all the time. Put us to the test. Don't
Yes,
don't just stay there and no. Put us to the test. That's
yeah,
all. All we ask is just put us to the test. But just one last thing is that,
okay.
brothers and sisters, we are very conscious of how people been using and abusing our data and
Yes,
creating program and service against us.
yes.
For that reason, we will never put critical information or data available for anybody to come and spy on.
Hmm.
So we are very conscious of that. Just to let brothers and sisters know, don't go to Facebook and look for us because we're not there. We have no interest, and so on and so forth. This is just last message. But brother, once again, it has been a privilege. Thanks a lot for the questions. Thanks a lot for the comments, and really continue to do the great work that you're doing, bro. And help us or continue to help us to get to get to Babylon or get to whatever we have to get on.
Thank you. Thank you
So
so much. Thank you so much.
really a privilege, and thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Blessings to you. Blessings to you.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you. Good day. Good day. And strong week. Strong week. Wow. Now, wasn't that something? Wasn't that something? Hey? Oh God, I'm. You see, I'm glowing at the moment. I am truly glowing. To be in the presence of someone able to explain what are sometimes complex but straightforward ideas. Okay, but ideas which have been around for thousands of years. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I see a message. Yeah. Yeah. What Rose was absolutely amazing. Truly amazing. Truly amazing. Truly amazing. And I urge you, if you've not considered it yet, go to the website. Call the telephone number, send the emails. If you're on the recording, this recording is retained on YouTube and Facebook. Please give us a thumbs up. Yeah? Don't forget to give us a thumbs up or subscribe. No cost to yourselves. Subscribe. It simply means that YouTube and Facebook are able to continue to promote what we do here. It is vitally important. There you are. Give us the thumbs up. Thumbs up or share with your friends and family members. Okay? Please do so. All right. It's now time for me to go. Time for me to go. And to the next strong, I remain the motivator. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. Praise Jah, Rastafari, bless Ashun. There you go. Let's get this going. And if you're in doubt, ask questions, people. I'm going to say this again. If you're in doubt, ask questions. Do not suffer in silence. Okay? Do not suffer in silence. And remember, the world is your oyster. I say again, the world is oyster. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far,